First, there is a book to be disputed. The Jamgon Larang has published. This is the first time that the third Jamgon Rinpoche teachings was transcribed and published in English first time. So this I am releasing this copy. And then I am an advertiser today. The eighth Karmapa, Mr. Dorje, the Intigong Gongchik, the Intigong, the whole book, the commentary on Intigong Gongchik or Intigong Chapa Rinpoche's teaching on Gongchik, the whole book, the commentary by the eighth Karmapa is of 5 volumes. This is published by Leksik Karma Leksik Ling of Nepal. The 5 books. If you want to buy this, it's the root text is Drikung Jigten Sumgam, the founder of the Drikung school of Buddhism. There are not very many copies, so if you want to buy it, this you will find back of Telegram Monastery. And then the teaching for today is on the 30th, during the 30th Kajya Melam's time. The teaching that we are going to do during the Melam is the three primary elements of the path, the great Lord Tsongkhapa, King of Dharma, and the commentary of this by Jamgon Lodro Thai. That's what I'm going to teach. First, I will read a little bit and then I can maybe explain. So he's reading through the commentary by Jamgon Rinpoche. It's also translated into English. It's on the website. Should I read? Maybe not. So this is the special qualities of the author of this book. The author of this book is Je Lama Tsongkhapa. As the Lord Thai himself explained as the first, maybe I have to explain a little bit what he said. Jawa Tsongkhapa when the fourth Karmapa Rolvi Dorje was going to China, in some stories he met the Tsongkhapa. In some stories, when Karmapa was returning from China, he met the Tsongkhapa. Whether he met him on his way or on his way back from China, he met him. I can't say exactly, but so he met when fourth Karmapa went to Shacho Tongkiyul, that is on the Tsongkhapa Chembo was very small, I think about a child. And then Karmapa said that this boy will become like the second Buddha. And then he gave him the Upasaka vows, and then he gave him the name Kungan Himpo. This is in the history, this is the historical thing. So this is the, from the Kamsang point of view, the fourth Karmapa Rolvi Dorje was a kind of, predicted or he recognized this great master called Tsongkhapa. That's how it is. And then the real story or the biography of Lobsang Trungpa, I may not be able to tell you at this time the whole thing. Even if I tell you, maybe you will get bored or it will be too much, so let's not talk about that. The Rinpoche or Je Tsongkhapa's activities, he is blessed by Manjushri, and so he had a special experience with the realization of the Madhyamaka practices, the view for coming from Nagarjuna and his students, and then also he was especially holding the lineage of Adish Dipankara, so he was a great holder of the Vinaya. There have been some people who disputed about the view of Madhyamaka, but about his Vinaya or spirit of Dharma and the Vinaya conduct, it seems there is nobody who actually had anything to say against it. So he was a great master. So for whom this book was written? So this is for all the people, all the people who are interested in the Triyanas, but especially the person who requested this. Generally, the treatise was composed to benefit disciples of the three kinds of predisposition who possess the faith and good fortune and to pursue freedom, Specifically, it was composed in response to the request from Ngawang Tangpa, a native of the Songkha region, who was among the supreme class of students having the good karma to have studied the Mahayana throughout. Generally speaking, the treatise is distilled essence of the profound meaning of the sutra and tantras taught of the perfect Buddha himself, together with the commentaries on his intent. In particular, it is the condensed essence of the crux of the first turning, namely the renunciation, together with that of the middle and the final turning, bodhisattva view. These three elements are like the foundation, heart of life force for even crossing the threshold of either sutra or mantra. Consequently, they are indispensable. The treatise therefore incorporates the philosophical principles of both the Hinayana and the Vanayana. The regent Maitreya and the Arya Sangha taught that the full range of topics of all the teachings of the Buddha can be condensed into the stage of part of the three Purushas, which refers to beings of various degrees of spiritual majority. Additionally, majority consists of renunciation, the path of being superior degree, superior spiritual. So he's reading through this the text. So first, the introduction, the expressing of the homage, the commitment to compose, and then encouragement to listen. As far as I am able, I shall explain the essential meaning of all the excellent teachings of the Buddha, the path acclaimed by genuine bodhisattvas, the route for the fortunate who yearn for freedom. So this is the commitment to compose. Those attached to the pleasures of existence. So this is who strive to make the freedoms and assets meaningful. Fortunate ones with confidence in the path that realize the Buddha listen with sincere faith. So this is kind of encouraging the people to study. So he's reading through the commentary of this, the second. So after this is the preparation, and from tomorrow onwards we talk about the renunciation, and then one day we talk about the bodhicitta, and then another day we talk about the right view, and then on the fifth day we will do the initiation of the Vajra Sattva according to the Marpa system. So on the fifth day, I will give this initiation, Denang, and those who would like to do Ngendo will be very useful for them. So I would like to explain a little bit what we have already gone through as a root text. The reason why we have to teach this text, the three primary elements of the path, is because generally the 30th Kajun Pelam is to remember the practice, the great contributions of Jamgon Kongtrul, the old Jamgon Kongtruls, the most important way of remembering or honoring the great masters is to remind or to understand their experiences, their realizations, and try to practice what they have taught. There is nothing more better way of doing honoring the teacher than to do this. The Jamgon Kongtrul has written countless books, and out of them all there's something that is small enough and would be very beneficial to all different kind of people. I thought this text will be very useful for people. Therefore, so I'm going to teach this text on the commentary, through the commentary of Jamgon Kongtrul. So this is what was suggested by the Kajun Pelam committee, and I also thought it was very good. So that's why I'm teaching this text. And some people might think, maybe I should, it's not sometimes useful to talk about this, but some people think, when the first time when I come here, now at 12 years since I've come to India, I have been able to go only twice to outside this country, abroad, and both of them was to America. And when I first went to America, first time to see it, when I was in Los Angeles, when I went to the Los Angeles city, that time, in that hotel where I was staying, the Sajja Dumjo Rinpoche's son, Dosin Tilenobu, came. I met him for the first time, and that time when I had the good fortune to talk with him, and that time Dosin Tilenobu said, first in the Rumphik, there was a big statue, and lots of the dancers, and I heard that you have abolished that. I heard that you have abolished that. I have nothing else to say, but please don't do that. Please restart that. So I had a kind of a, when I heard this, I had a, it was not like that. As according to the time of the 16th Karmapa, nothing stopped. It keeps on working on. And I thought that he didn't have the right information, and so I just explained that there's nothing stopped. And then some people said again later on that I've heard people talking about it. Karmapa urgent has become Gelupa, and therefore, so he doesn't practice. He says that you should not. He says that he should not practice Nyingma. You should not recite the 7-9 prayer like that. This is also a rumor that is going on. So it looks like there is some of these talks going on. So the Townsend Silenobu also might have had some, some people might have told these kind of rumors to him. maybe it can be also within the Kajus. I just came from Tibet, and then I went directly to Dharamsala. Generally I thought that I will stay a few months in Dharamsala, and then I thought I would go to Sheravling or Rumtek, or that's what I thought it would happen, but it didn't happen. I couldn't go anywhere, so I had to stay in Dharamsala, in Jutu Ramuche, as a kind. I was there as a kind of guest there, but then I had to be a guest there for 12 years. So now the guest is almost becoming the permanent resident. So since I am staying in a great monastery of Gelugpa, so maybe some people are spreading these kind of rumors. There's a lot of rumors actually happens in India. So there are some people. I don't have to say this is not true, because it's not that I have to explain, the people can just see. But when I was right from the beginning, when I was very small, my parents had great faith in Guru Padma Sambhava. As far as I remember, I didn't understand anything else to recite, but I could only recite the 7-line prayer, and that's. So I thought that this was sometimes very useful, because we were nomadic, so we had to move our tents many different places. So in the summer we had to go another place, and then different places. So all the peoples coming together, and then they make a kind of a lottery, which place some the people would like to have a better place, like where there is lots of grass and lots of water, and then so his father used to say, my father used to tell me to recite the 7-line prayer. So I used to recite the 7-line prayer. There was a little drum, so I used to beat this drum, and the whole day I used to recite the 7-line prayer. Then, if the father got a good place, then when he comes back, he said, "Yes, you must have recited very well. So we have got a good place." If he didn't get a good place, then he would come back and say, "I'm sure you didn't do it very well. You didn't recite very well because we didn't have a good place." So once we were in a winter place. Our winter place was something like so we were in a kind of valley so one day there was in the sky there was a kind of a big black red dark smoke coming out. Then the chief of our area told that there was a fire in the mountains. So if all the fire kind of burns the grasses, then all the food for the cattle will be finished. So there is not. So he told, "You must do something." So I came again. I went on top of a hill and then started to recite 7-line prayer, and then I used to blow into the air, but I don't know whether it helped or not. But the fire didn't come to our place. So the chief gave me one Chinese yuan So I was very happy because I got 1 yuan as a present for doing this. Then I went to my parents and showed them that I have received 1 yuan because I've never received anything before that. I've never received a present. So I had this kind of connection with Guru Padmasambhava. Even now, it's the same way. Generally, for the Dharma, I have great faith and I have great confidence in all the teachings of the Buddha. I have no kind of no thought or no attitude that one is better or another is worse. Especially the teachings of the Buddha in Tibet, all of them are coming from India, not different teachings, but it's all same thing. Just they have different names or different lineages because the same teachings, but then the teachers, they establish different monasteries and in different places. Then we sometimes forget that we come from the same teacher and the same teaching because it's more than 2,000 years since the Buddha passed away. And also the teaching of the Buddha also kind of divided into many different sections. In India there were 18 different schools, and in Tibet also there were the early translation and new translation, and in the new translation also there are different schools. So we sometimes kind of tend to forget that we are the feeling that we come from the same teacher and same teaching, and then we kind of tend to think that I'm the better one and I'm the following the right tradition, and that's not good, because the teaching of the Buddha Shakyamuni is how that can end. When the Buddha predicted that he predicted that the way it will end is because the people who hold the teachings have conflicts within themselves, and that is how the Buddha's teaching will end. And that kind of conflict is something that the Maras kind of entering into a heart. It's nothing good. It's very bad. We should, however bad we are, we should not destroy our own teachings. That's what I always talk about. I think we should all be very careful about this, because earlier during Kagyu Gunchu also I told this. I must say it again. I will tell a story about this. Because I'm just a child, like a child, so I will tell a story. It's a Japanese story. In Japan, the two people went to the restaurant, and then they discussed, they talked, and one of the person said, in my life, the patience, these two words, there is nothing better than this patience. And the other one said, in Japanese there are two words for patience. One is 2 syllables, and another has 3 syllables. Another one said, this for me also the same thing. There's nothing more important than this 3 syllables called patience. So because both of them said the same thing, but because they used 2 different words, one with 2 syllables and one with 3 syllables, they start to fight. So it's the same thing. All the teachings of the Buddha, all the schools of Buddhism in Tibet, also exactly like that. It's same. It's talking about the same thing. So then they kind of have conflict, because they are not using the same word, or they are not using the same kind of a little bit different. So therefore you are wrong, and therefore they have conflict, and this is not right. Like in the Tatang, in the Vajrayana, so there are slightly different ways of putting the Vajra and the bell. So Nyingmas put the Vajra in the right, and the new tradition put the Vajra in the left and the right. So these are a little bit, the slightly different ways of doing things. It kind of it would not, prove that we have the different type views and different experience. A slightly different thing of traditions or way of doing things. We think that we are very, very different. That's very wrong. It's not like that. Some forms of differences are also good because that they are different people. That countless number of beings, and each being have different, likes and dislikes. So therefore, the way to teach them, the way to explain should be different. Because if you can just teach in one way only and one way of doing things, then it will not be suitable for everybody. So therefore, it's necessary to have slightly different ways of teaching that would be suitable for different people. And because there are differences, we cannot say that they are very different. So we have to understand that they are, in essence, not different. It's all same. So this most of you know, because most of you are elder than myself. You have experience, you have intelligence, you can think about yourself. You can examine yourself, you will understand. I don't have to say it. I don't have to explain, but this is very, very important, I think. And then the prayer book of the Kagyu Melam also. I've included the prayers written by all the great masters of different schools of Tibetan Buddhism, and also the Kagyus, the Tapo Kagyus, different sub-schools like 4 earlier and 8 newer, later masters. Sometimes Cheji Chungje doesn't sound good for some people. I've put all of their words or their teachings or their composed great masters. All of them are great masters. They were protectors of beings. There's no doubt about that. So their teachings, their prayers, even if we can just once recite those prayers, would certainly plant the seed of positive thing in our mind, and so it would also help in various kind of beings throughout this space. So all these great masters of the past, as they have taught, and so I also, when we recite those prayers, we would also will be able to teach like all those great beings in different ways, as according to the need of all different kind of people, slightly different way, and it's not only my duty to hold the teachings of the Buddha. So all of you, whether you are monks or non-monks, whoever, you have to you have to hold the Dharma. So you have to understand what is the Buddha's teaching and how to preserve it. You have to preserve it through teaching and through practice. So in the Tibetan system, there is a Sheda, and there is separately, and there is a Dubda, or the practice. In India, there never was it's two different things. There was no Sheda and Dubda separately, but that's because we could not put this together. Those who study, they are Shedavas. Those who practice, they are Dubdas. And then sometimes, it's really important to combine this together with teaching and the practice. So they should not be separated. The people who study should practice, and the people who practice should also study. Otherwise, a monastery will have only the half of the teachings, and that's not good. So this is something that everybody should keep in their mind. The practice and teaching should come together, and in union we have to practice. So what we have to study and what we have to practice should not be just one-sided or one section only. When we practice, recite even the refuge, we say, I go refuge to the Buddhas, I go to the Dharma. We don't say that only my Buddhas I go refuge, only my type of Dharma or my type of Sangha. It doesn't say. So I go refuge to all the Buddhas, I go to all the Dharmas, or I go to refuge to all the Sangha. There is no seclusion. Otherwise it doesn't become refuge. So if you don't make the authentic refuge, then we are not authentic Buddhists. So therefore, why we pretend to be Buddhist? Because for a Buddhist, so therefore we should not make this segregation of. The practice of the Dharma that we have to study and practice should be something. All the teachings of the Buddha, it's not something only my side, only my tradition will not be, accumulating proper positive deeds. And not only that, but we will be giving up the Dharma. I'm not trying to frighten you, but this is the real truth. So it said that if you give up the Dharma, then it's worse than 5 most heinous negative deeds, because if you do if you do some really heinous negative deeds, you might for some time go to a very negative realm. But giving up Dharma is even worse than that. You will create a situation for yourself that you will never actually be able to practice Dharma. So therefore, we pretend to be the Buddhists. We pretend to be. We claim to be a monk or a nun. So if you don't know how to do that, why just waste our life, and why we cheat ourselves? We should not do that. We should understand clearly what the Dharma is, and then what is the Dharma that, and especially the great Siddhas, they do not study those practitioners. They don't go into too much details, and they just more depend on faith or on devotion. And the Shedavas, the studies, those studies should really understand the true nature, the true kind of understanding of the Dhamma from completely, from deep understanding. But sometimes those who study, they seems like they have much more, misunderstanding, or they have much more kind of. They should be completely understand and very open-minded, but they become less open-minded because they're very kind of, this is my side, this is other side, too much kind of one-sided. And that's, I don't know how that becomes, because it should not be like that. Whatever we do, the practice, we should practice it, something that helps us and something that goes on the point. I said that the mind should turn to the Dharma, and Dharma should turn on the right path. Otherwise, if the path where it will lead, we don't know. If it goes to the wrong path, then it's very difficult. So it's not good. We have to see that our path doesn't go into the wrong way. Then that what practice we do is actually helping our mind, ourselves. So we have to be very mindful about this. So although I talk a lot, but I have to look at myself also, because an ignorant person should not talk too much, it is said. So therefore, maybe I should not talk now too much. So therefore, this is maybe what I have to say today. And then we will do the Lamrim Phelam, the prayer of Lamrim, and then after that, then some prayers, and then we do a little bit of meditation.